Gets and lads, welcome back to the Game Full podcast. My name is Elijah, and I'm with Andres per usual. And today we're going to cover some more MLS content, in particular, the reports that they might be changing the schedule. Now, that's because the schedule was a big topic of conversation with the MLS as to why it will never achieve the same success as European leagues or the same prowess and whatnot. So this looks like maybe a step in the right direction, but we are here to talk about and give our opinions on it. Before we get into it, though, make sure to leave a like on the video if you guys want some MLS Cup content, because we will absolutely give you guys some MLS playoff content. Make sure to subscribe for more MLS and Gold CONCACAF content as well, and then comment down below your thoughts about this whole potential schedule change, because we read every single comment that we can and every single comment that we get. Okay, Andres. So for those who don't know, MLS is considering changing to a fall-spring calendar after the 2026 World Cup. Now that means like very similar calendar to the rest of the world, meaning schedule is going to run from early August to like late May, typical, with a 5-week break from mid-December to early February or so. So all of January off. So pretty similar to a lot of European leagues. A lot of them tend to do that. Obviously, most start in August and end in May and whatnot. I know it's just being studied, it's being considered, it's being talked about. It's not confirmed yet. Your thoughts, though, Andres, on the potential schedule change?
I kind of like the OG schedule we have. I'm not gonna lie.
Really?
Hear me out. It's just because, I don't know. It just it fits with the American theme, of just the schedule and all that jazz. But I kind of like it because it's a filler for when the European League isn't happening. All the leagues aren't happening. It's kind of like a nice filler to have. Granted, yes, different quality we're talking here, obviously. But I like it. I kind of like the schedule because it gives me a little filler that, at least I know I can watch a game on certain days, especially international breaks. You know what I mean? There's something to watch besides international football. So I know, controversial. I don't think you probably thought I was going to think about that.
I wasn't expecting that.
It's grown on me. The more I've watched MLS soccer, the more it's grown on me, and I kind of like the scheduling. It's nice.
Interesting. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, like I said, I was not expecting that at all. I'm kind of conflicted on it. I enjoy the MLS for what it is and for every time you bring out the Hydro Fund.
It's dented it's so funny, too. Right? I don't know if you can see it. It's warped right here. Jesus. Yeah, I got mad. Anyways.
But the MLS schedule is very unique. Obviously, it starts in February, March, and ends October, November. November. Very unique, very American. Very not football. And with that comes a lot of problems, comes a lot of conflicts and whatnot. Which leads me to say that I believe it's a good thing. Personally, I think it's a good thing for them to switch to the typical footballing system, especially after the World Cup. And it's really interesting because typically during the summer, when a lot of international competitions are held, that is the Euros and Copa America, Gold Cup, Nations League, all those things, typically MLS is still in season and they don't break for a lot of these international breaks. And I think that is a big stain. I know a lot of pro MLS people are very, very confident in it and like it. And it's a very big topic of conversation for why the MLS should run the way it is. But as a result of that, it's pretty conflicting with a lot of players and the fans. In particular, the MLS is obviously getting a lot better as a league, meaning that a lot of the players in there, a lot of star players at least, are now getting called up to the international teams and whatnot. And it's not like they get called up and there's no games to be had during the club season. Clubs still play games, for those who don't follow MLS. Clubs still play games during international breaks.
There was a massive list during the Copa America of all the
there was
players missing from teams.
Yeah, LAFC played, I believe it was Vancouver during the most recent international break, the one before that. And each team had 6 players missing, 6 starters missing. Not bench players, 6 starters.
It's benefit, for example, just to give context, certain teams, it's really good. It doesn't affect them whatsoever because a lot of their players don't get called up, i.e. Galaxy. I feel like they did take major advantage in during the summer was where they got a lot of points was literally because hardly any of their starters got called up to their respective national teams. Granted, it's a hard for a lot of their key players to get called up. But yeah, it just affects teams in different ways, especially LAFC and Vancouver. Vancouver has a lot of players that.
Vancouver has a lot of players, yeah.
Yeah. They actually beat Portland Timbers 5-0.
They did. Really good performance too. A fantastic performance.
I don't think anyone's actually saw that one coming. It's just shocking.
I know.
Anyways,
Not that bad, at least.
like it's just like to me, like I understand like the change, right? Like let's switch it up, go to how it is, right? But I just kind of like the idea that there's international ball happening during the summer, but you can take a step back and be like, okay, I want to change it up a little bit. Let's watch MLS and then go back. Granted, yeah, it's going to be a decrease now. Certain teams aren't going to have the same amount of players, the same players as yada yada yada. But like I don't know, I just like having that option instead of just being focused on international football. But that's just me personally.
I guess I'm more of a purist, international football purist. It's one or the other for me. And that's why I like it.
Yeah,
like,
you got to remember, international football is a sad time for me when it's on. So I'm not very thrilled to be watching it most of the time. I would say 90% of the time, I'm not even thrilled to watch it. So at least I can get some joy from watching MLS. Just like not because it's good football, just it's only attacking football. It's end to end all the time somehow. Don't know how that happens, but it is. Defense doesn't exist. On a rare few occasions it does. But yeah, that's just me. It just gives me another option. Maybe it's because I have a short attention span. I think that might be it. I blame Insta Reels. I don't have TikTok, so I blame Insta Reels for that one.
In this episode, it's gonna be a special one. We're gonna have Subway Surfers on the side, so that Andres is not. But
no, I actually don't. You know what? I don't watch those ones. Like
the Reddit ones. Yeah.
No, I focus on what they're talking about. I don't watch the Subway Surfers, so I'm not that bad.
Gotcha.
I just do have a short attention span.
It happens. Our generation. Okay, let's look at it from a pure MLS perspective, though, not from like our personal opinions. I do think it brings more benefits for the league itself than not, personally. Having the same schedule as the rest of the world is good. It's a good thing. Yes, for me at least. For the bigger picture, I understand the opinion of maybe when the Prem is done, when the Liga is done, all this, you could still watch the MLS. No one does. Like, it's still not that great of a thing.
Like stats, Apple TV.
I mean, well, but in comparison to the rest of the world, like it's not like if let's say I would understand it more. Let's say if the Premier League did it, right? Let's say if the Premier League switched their schedule to the MLS schedule, everyone's gonna watch it in the summer, right? Around the world. With the MLS, it just doesn't work that way. People watch. Don't get me wrong, but it's not like oh, Prem's done. Let's go to the MLS. It's Prem's done. Okay, I throw the MLS on.
Transfer window.
Then also, transfer window. And even then, it's not like you can just throw it on, obviously, because of the Apple TV subscription deal and all that jazz. So at that point, you're already limiting it to fans to watch. You might as well just align the schedules. I think a big thing too that's important is not only international windows, but you just mentioned transfer windows. Obviously, we share the same transfer window as a lot of the world. It just happens in different parts of our season compared to the rest of the season. Premier League, it happens between seasons and middle of the season. Perfect. That makes the most sense. It does happen in that way with the MLS, but as a result, you're not going to get the deals you want. You don't get the players you want, and in the time spans you want. What typically happens is in summer, it happened with Giroud, right? We knew we were going to send Giroud for months.
Yep.
But we couldn't get him for months, for a few months until his season was done. So like little things like that. If you really want a good bit of the revenue, you should switching the schedule would allow you to be way more involved in the world's transfer situation, and that gets you more, looks and popularity and whatnot. And I would think a lot more players would want to come to the MLS because of that. Depending on where you come from, of course, obviously we have the same schedule as like the Brazilian league. They have a very similar schedule. Players don't always want to move mid-season, right? But our off season is other teams mid-season. A lot of players don't want to do that. If you align the schedule, I think you could gain a lot of supporters. Not supporters, so you would get a lot of supporters, but you would also bring in a lot of fans.
I think the media outlets would cover a little bit more. You know what I mean? Just because it's the same or something like that. It's kind of weird though because I don't ever see someone like outside of the United States, Mexico, Canada, like actually waking up to watch the MLS. Yeah, right. Like they'll see like a little snippet on Twitter, like for the MLS Cup when the LAFC won it. They were like, "Oh, the limbs go crazy" when it was in California when they scored.
Great time,
great
day.
Yep. It like that's the like little recognition the MLS recognition. Yeah, I got that. That the MLS gets is like little snippets on Twitter, little posts from like football. The other
occasionally.
Sports Bible, stuff like that,
Yeah.
like the big UK outlets, all that jazz. And then no one cares after that. You know what I mean? No one knows that the MLS Cup playoffs is happening right now. Like genuinely,
Yeah, not many people care.
Isn't following. Yeah, no one cares. It's all about
In the
the World
same way
Series
that
right
a
now.
lot of people here care about the Champions League and whatnot,
Yeah.
around the world. Yeah. I will say too, with the whole international break thing, like I totally get your point of the whole you can still watch the MLS while international teams are playing, but it doesn't benefit the MLS in my opinion, because a lot of the time it's still being overshadowed in those international breaks by the international games. If Mexico's playing the USA at the same time that MLS games are happening, you're not going to get a lot of viewership with the MLS games,
This
depending
is
on where you
true.
are, of course. So, yes, it is kind of cool, but if the Copa America is on and the Euros are on, I'm not going to watch the fucking MLS. Like, I'm going to put all my time and effort into watching those games,
Yep.
regardless of, regardless of who's playing. Like, you just don't pay attention as much. So, like, I'm sure they get some viewers, but I'm sure they lose a lot too. Especially with those games that matter.
Yeah,
I think
it's battling viewership and it's a losing battle because they're battling uphill, obviously.
Yeah, it is. And I think a big thing with it too is they want to obviously American sports are unique in the fact that they have to compete with other American sports around the world. I'm sure it happens elsewhere, but it's not as competitive in these domestic countries. Soccer tends to can compete with cricket and rugby around the world, tennis, those kind of things, but not as much on the level as American sports. So I do understand having to deal with that in terms of revenue.
If we could put a pecking order on MLS, it would be like fourth, fifth, maybe.
I would say
in
four.
the U.S.
Maybe
US
four.
pecking order.
Behind baseball, basketball, football, and it's neck and neck with hockey. I would say. I think it's higher than hockey now.
Yeah,
kind of.
I think they're like
Canada
same.
too. Yeah, I believe in Canada. I'm hearing that more people are watching soccer than they're watching hockey, which is a big deal. But like that's what I mean. Like that was a hugely important thing when the MLS first created in the first 2 decades of it. But we're past that now. MLS is able to stand on its own and has enough viewership on its own without having to worry about other sports. So I think that's why you should switch it. I think it's just overall more beneficial. And they tried really hard with this schedule they have currently to make it unique, make it special, give people a reason to watch it. And by doing that, they use the schedule to do that. But I don't think you need to do that anymore. You have enough viewership, you have players, you have all this enough money, revenue sharing, whatever, to not have to worry about the schedule as a driving force to get people to watch it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think obviously that was a big thing with the last World Cup was the whole taking time off if it was in the summer. Thankfully, they didn't have to worry about it because it was obviously in the winter because of Qatar and all of that, so they didn't have to worry about it. But that is a big deal too. But if they were to switch it, they wouldn't have to worry about things like the World Cup. One thing too, though, that I'm going to say against the schedule, against the new schedule that I'm hearing online, it is a valid argument, is weather, temperature. If it's going to be really hard to play in the East Coast and up north.
That's true.
In November, December. Like I said, apparently there was going to be that break between December and February, which is what the coldest. But November is creeping in. Obviously, global warming is taking that away from us, but just November creeping into it.
What do you mean global warming, bro? They don't exist. I'm joking.
All right, we're not getting into a political conversation right here on the channel, but
I'm joking. Don't be numpties, people. Come on now.
Yeah. But it's. What's going on?
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's gonna get hard. It's gonna be really hard, especially for a team coming from, let's say, Southern California, where it doesn't get that cold. It gets,
R.I.P.
At worst, I guess in San Diego, 60. At worst, it gets to 50, 60 degrees at worst, right?
Mountains, 40, 30, nothing crazy.
Yeah, and there's a team in the mountains, so it doesn't matter. But then you're going to go to the likes of Colorado. You're going to go to the Midwest, where it snows. You're going to go up north to Vancouver, Toronto, Montreal, where it snows like crazy. And that's going to be a big thing, too. Indoor, yeah, but a lot of teams... I'm not going to lie. I think Vancouver has an indoor stadium, but there's a lot of teams who don't have the facilities for it. And that's going to be a big thing too. So obviously it's something to worry about. I don't know if it's enough to stop the schedule change.
Positive note you could take from the whole weather thing. It would force the MLS to actually invest and put money into improving facilities for these teams.
It's true. It is true.
So they would have state of the art facilities and maybe indoor stadiums possibly, or maybe indoor training facilities and all that jazz, so they don't have to worry
Yeah.
about it. Just saying, it could actually help improve the MLS. But
Yeah.
we know the MLS.
The
They don't want to put
infrastructure.
money into the league.
No,
No,
of course not. No,
they're
of
kind
course
of they're
not.
kind of like EA. They just kind of want to put a band-aid over it and then keep building on it, and then
Yeah.
then when it's about to fall over, then
Yeah.
they
something new. Then
yeah,
evolutions, and then
yeah.
and then
It's like, actually no, it's Jenga. That's what it is. They just
Jenga.
yeah, they take it apart. They take the
Oh, they
league
keep
apart,
pulling
and then
out,
they,
and then
and then
okay.
they keep putting stuff on top, and then eventually it's going
Okay.
to give way, and then they
Yeah.
just make a new Jenga pile, and then they just start
Yeah.
over again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I will say for this whole schedule change idea, it is a positive sign for the outlook of the MLS that there is somewhere there, someone in the realm of the MLS infrastructure where people are thinking, hey, we should be more like them, which is good. It's a good thing to be more like international leagues, and we talked about this. This is literally the backbone of our channel. The USA soccer cannot exist on its own. It has to pull from the rest of the world because they've done it so well.
Oh, sorry.
So it is a good thing. Don Garber came out like last week talking about how the MLS model is the best model in world football,
Oh,
and how
silly guy.
other leagues and countries need to be more like us because we make the most money or some shit like that. So
Premier League,
I think
bro.
he,
Premier League's laughing at us.
he was asked about promotion relegation, or he said it's more sustainable for clubs and all this, whatever. So obviously the MLS promotion relegation does not look like it's going to happen anytime soon. But this is
USL.
it's a
Come on
band-aid.
now.
It's a band-aid. Come on, USL.
Come on, USL. You got this.
Yeah, it's a band-aid on the overall worser, bigger picture. But we'll take it. Honestly, we'll take it. If this changes schedule and it acts more like the European leagues, and I mean, even something as little as this could have a really good, profound impact on the rest of the league in
in the right
terms of
direction.
quality. Absolutely, step in the right direction. Great quality could come in. More fans will be gathered to appreciate it. I mean, like even during summer, you're playing a Wednesday game in summer, people still can't go. People work, all that. Like, what's the point? I don't see a point. I would much rather see that during the rest of the year when people are still working, but they get a day off. They look forward to that at the end of the week, instead of the whole summer thing. And yeah, obviously, we don't know the viewership or the attendance, differences in summer
I don't think
compared to
we'll
the
ever know, bro.
the rest of the year.
I think we're ever gonna know.
But yeah, so, excuse me. So I think it's good. If you have a different opinion or the same opinion, let us know in the comments down below. Because this is, if it happens, this is one of the biggest changes to the MLS ever.
True. Minus the penalty shootout system.
Yes, I know. And there's so much more that could and / needs to be changed. But I think that personally, this would be a step in the right direction for the overall outlook of the MLS. And I hope that by doing so, if do it and there's a really good reaction for the players, teams, and fans, they start looking at different ways to change the league, which is kind of what you need to do, my personal opinion. So, yeah. Andres, you got anything else to add for the argument for or against?
I'll say this real quick. A lot of pros and cons to both sides here, but I after discussing this, I will say there's a lot more pros, but I understand the cons side. I don't think anyone's really wrong. I in this situation, like if you take a side, it's just one of those things where it's like I think it could have a good outcome, but also like if nothing happens, then it's going to stay the same, but it's not going to be a bad outcome.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean, and vice versa.
It is a very relative argument. Like I think like there's a reason why your first reaction when I asked you about it was how it would impact you. Which is totally fine. That's totally fine. I do think that's a big thing with MLS fans, though, is like those who are for and against it. It's a very personal thing for them, instead of what the league would need. I think when you look at it from what the league I think needs, I think the schedule change is the right thing. Obviously, people work or not work during summer, or are busy, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's good. It benefits some people. It might be negative for some people. I think it just overall will be the benefit. So yeah. Like I said earlier in the video, make sure to leave a like on the video if you guys want more MLS content in general or MLS playoff content, because we will happily provide you guys with such. And make sure to subscribe for way more American soccer content, way more CONCACAF content, and soccer football content in general. I was trying to hold that in.
You
till
got
the end.
this.
Thank you.
You got-
Thank you. Thank you. And yeah, leave a comment down below your thoughts, and hopefully we'll see you guys in future videos. Take it easy, guys.